It won't do to act without knowing the opponent's condition. And knowing the opponent's condition is impossible without espionage. Right? And you need foreknowledge. That's what's called foreknowledge. And foreknowledge can't be had by calculation. It can't be gotten from ghosts. It can't be gotten from analysis. All right. It only comes from people. Okay, and that's an interesting concept that Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, chapter 13, on the use of spies, that foreknowledge comes from people. But what kind of people? People who know the condition of the opponent. There's a saying, if a man lives long enough, you get to see everything. Right? And so I'm here to tell you, I can tell you how things have changed in this country and where things are headed. As a little kid, there was no self-serve. There was no self-serve at the grocery store. There was no self-serve at the gas station. Okay, and then what do we see year after year? I remember the first self-serve at stations at the grocery stores, and then there was 1 and 2, and there's a pilot. And now at Walmart, some of these places, like half the place is self-serve. And what's so funny is you go in at nighttime, and then sometimes they got like half of them cut off and not that many employees.
Ford workers once assembled cars like the Model T, much of the work done by hand, by muscle power. Competitive pressures prompted industrial companies of all kinds to seek more efficient, less labor-intensive, and cheaper ways to make products. Bad news for millions of workers like Holly Stover, who once held jobs in industrial companies. She was laid off after years of work for steel firms.
Well, I hope to end up working a decent job, making a decent living.
Right, and down at the casino, they're doing the same thing with the food services. Got hit hard, real hard, but nobody is safe. The only reason that those of you who are still working is because it hasn't been automated yet.
With help from an employment counselor, Stover is exploring new kinds of work, worrying about healthcare costs, and considering school to update skills.
You see the commercial with the doctor that's doing the surgery over in another country. What do you think that does? So that country lost a doctor. So now a doctor from any country can do a surgery, right? You seen the movie Prometheus? When the girl wanted to get the alien out, and so there was no doctor. There was just a tube she can get in with, this highly automated, and she programmed it herself, and it asked her what did she want, and she said, I want you to take this living creature out of my stomach, and that's what it did. all the lasers came down, and voila. And she had to do it in like 5 minutes, and so it did it. And it made a little, she cut a few corners, but everything worked out. Stapled it up herself or something. So my point is, no one is safe. In the future, probably it'll be something like knowledge workers, right? Cars are driving themselves. What do you think is going to happen? It's interesting that Jeff Bezos wants to raise the minimum wage to $15, which, you know, I think is, that has some advantages and disadvantages. That if you don't know, like Art of War said, if you don't know the disadvantages, you don't know the advantages. Because if everybody's getting paid $15, then that means there's going to be less working people. And if there's less working people, that's going to be more people out of a job and so forth. But I'm wondering what is his strategy, because what's interesting is that I know he just hired a lot of people, like 100,000 people or something, to deliver all the packages, because it was just such a boom, you know, during the pandemic, right? And so if everybody goes up to $15, then other companies, especially smaller companies, will have to let go of some people, right? And so he already made his minimum wage, or lowest paid, $15. He upped it, which is interesting because he's also implementing self-driving cars. So what do you think is going to happen with those self-driving cars? They're probably going to let go of a lot of people. At the same time, he wants everybody else to pay more money for their employees, $15 an hour, which is going to make it harder for those companies and easier for him. He's just going to let people go. That's my guess. Before we would think, well, it's a blue collar worker thing, or it's a manufacturing thing, or it's a food service thing. Well, you haven't seen the commercials? I mean, look where this is going. In the future there'll be knowledge workers, people who have a good understanding of their field and AI. Each industry that we're working in, most of us are working side by side by some form of AI. It's going to merge with every industry.
Hello everyone, I'm a sorting robot. I know I look cute, but my skills are a lot more impressive. I can identify the information on each of the parcels effectively and sort them out precisely. My friends and I can process as many as 18,000 parcels in an hour.
This is a 1.3 square kilometer transit warehouse. The use of sorting robots improves efficiency, accuracy, and security during the sorting process, and also reduces manual labor costs by an astonishing 70%. This AI and logistics model is now revolutionizing the express delivery industry across the country. Between 2012 and 2016, online retail sales in China skyrocketed from 1.3 trillion to 5.2 trillion yuan, making the country the world's largest online retailer. With a flourishing development of online shopping, the express business is also booming. There are now around 8,000 express delivery companies in China, and more than 2 million people working in the logistics industry. Last year, more than 31.28 billion parcels were delivered in the country, accounting for 40% of the world's total. Revenue from the express business has reached 400 billion yuan, while the per capita usage in China was approximately 23 deliveries per year. With the recent rise of AI and big data, the concept of smart logistics has been put into service.
Stock market long time ago. They started with the algorithms, and they're figuring out which stocks are the best, and they can go faster than any human being. So the stock brokers use the AI.
The other 1,000 coming due when we're ready to kind of roll everything out. So as we kind of round out the day of trading here, it was about $100 give or take, so a little bit under a 1% return on my capital, with a day's trading where I simply kind of manage positions myself. So there's something really exciting here going on. It felt just like when I trade my own algos and I just sit back and monitor positions and take profits and cut losers and things like this, and not so much something where I'm scouring the market and trying to figure out what the next trade is. So
right, and so then now they let us make our own trades, E-Trade and Robinhood. And why? Because we're going to get crushed, because already the stockbrokers are experts in their field, and now they got deep machine learning and algorithms, artificial intelligence to help them.
Completely a different style of trading.
Right, compete with each other. And so now they just swallow up people like us. I'm not saying you can't make a good deal, but I'm just saying you have far less security now than ever because of that.
Super exciting. It felt like a new way of trading, entirely.
Okay, and AI is a part of every industry. So one of the main reasons is because AI is going to take over every industry eventually, and we have to find our niche. The amount of jobs will decrease, and who knows what that's going to come to, universal basic income. But the point is, like the Art of War says, do what is great while it is still small. I wouldn't even say this is still small, but at least it's not real great. It's not a real great problem yet, but it's one to be focused on. And then it depends on how old you are. I mean, if you're about to retire, then, maybe you'll be okay. Maybe. It's hard to tell unless you want to keep working, or if you think that pensions and Social Security might be at risk, then you still might want to work, and this might be consideration for you. And then if you're really young, I think you really want to consider this, because things are changing so fast. You got the quantum computers now, so we don't need supercomputers anymore, because quantum computers can do far more and are far more effective. And they were doing like 20,000 years of human work in like less than a minute. So things are gonna they're gonna increase rapidly. We're gonna have like a singularity where some of us in our generation, the technology will change so fast we won't even know how to use it. It'll be like learning a foreign language, So this is all food for thought. In the Art of War, you have to, like mastering the Art of War, see trends, conditions, and patterns ahead of time, and deal with them. Have the courage, and that makes you wise, and that makes you brave to deal with these problems before they actually become problems. Remember, the Art of War is about seeing problems before they happen and then prevent them. Right, and this is an area where everybody's going to be affected. Nobody is safe, So it makes good sense to do reconnaissance, scan your environment for changes, upcoming changes. Stay in tune, do research. A lot of people are already out of a job, due to the pandemic. But what a lot of companies are trying to do now is automate things while people are gone or laid off, and then a lot of them might not come back for that reason. So getting skills up, finding new types of talent and skills that you can add to what you have, especially in those areas, will probably be a good thing. Some business knowledge, finance is always going to, well, I don't want to say always going to be there, but for now it's going to be around for a while. But areas that will still have a demand for, because the world is flat right now, and because of the pandemic and working, and everything has stopped and slowed down. And so when things start to come back together again, it's probably going to be a lot smaller, across the world. The labor pool is just going to be smaller, the labor pool that they need to actually work these jobs. All right, I'm Austin Christian with the Art of War Made Easy. Stick around, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. Try to do something a little bit more often every day. And I just want to relate the Art of War to what's going on now and how to help you prepare. And I'll see you soon. All right.